Hey, it's Papa. You know, if you want to build a house, you got to have tools, a hammer and a saw. If you want to paint a painting, you got to have tools, paintbrush and paints. And tree identification is the same way. If you want to learn to identify trees, you've got to have tools. So I'm going to teach you 3 tree tools that you can use to help you identify trees. Here we go. Tree tool number 1. All leaves are arranged on a tree in either one of 2 configurations or arrangements. The leaves are either arranged opposite each other on the tree branch, or they're arranged alternate. You have one here, you have to go up, you have one on the right. You have to go up, you have one on the left, you have to go up, you have one on the right. Opposite and alternate. That's the 2 ways, and the only 2 ways that leaves are arranged on a tree. And you can use this information, tree tool number 1, opposite versus alternate, to divide trees into easily identified groups. As an example, all maples have leaves that are opposite. All oaks have leaves that are alternate. All ash trees have leaves that are opposite. All hickory trees have leaves that are alternate. So that's our first tool, opposite versus alternate. And you know a couple of things about opposite versus alternate, or alternate versus opposite, any way you want to say it, is that even in wintertime when the leaves aren't there, the branches are arranged either opposite or alternate. For example, maple tree branches are arranged opposite from each other. Oak branches are arranged alternate from each other. Ash branches are arranged opposite from each other, and hickory branches are arranged alternate from each other. So this is a great tool to help you identify trees in wintertime. Notice another thing, that there's usually a little bud where each leaf comes off. That's going to help you. It's called an axillary bud. There's usually a bud right there. It's not always there, but if you find it there, you know you've got a leaf. So alternate versus opposite. Our next tree tool is simple leaves versus compound leaves. What's a simple leaf? A simple leaf is just like it sounds. It's just one object, one leaf, hooked to the twig, and there's usually an axillary bud, a bud right there. Whereas in a compound leaf, you know, this whole thing is a leaf. There's your bud. You have leaflets, and the leaflets are arranged opposite each other, and that can be tricky. Here's another kind of compound leaf where the leaflets are arranged in a kind of a hand or palm kind of shape. That's palmate compound. These are all the ways and the only ways that leaves can be arranged when we're talking about simple leaves versus compound leaves. Later on, I will teach you how to know what is a leaf and what is a leaflet. So this is tree tool number 2, simple leaves versus compound leaves. You can divide trees into groups for identification based on this characteristic. For example, oaks have simple leaves. Birches have simple leaves. There's just one leaf hooked to the twig and usually an axillary bud there. Whereas hickories, ashes, pecans, Locusts and walnuts have compound leaves. One leaf is made up of leaflets arranged opposite each other. Buckeye has a palmately compound leaf, where the leaflets are arranged like fingers on a palm or in a circle. Okay, so that's tree tool number 2. Tree tool number 1 is opposite versus alternate. Tree tool number 2 is simple versus compound. Our next tree tool is the leaf is toothless or the leaf has teeth. That's easy to tell, very easy to tell. Black gum is a tree that is toothless. It has no teeth on its leaf. Persimmon is another one. Pawpaw is another one. Birches have toothed leaves. Elms have toothed leaves. So once you identify whether a tree has toothless or toothed leaves, you can divide it into a group that will help you to identify it. So that's tree tool number 3. It's half of tree tool number 3. Here's the other half, and this is the last of the tree tools. A leaf either has lobes like the one on the left, which is an oak leaf, a white oak leaf, or it has no lobes. It's just one simple unlobed leaf, the typical leaf. Okay, so you have lobed leaves like oaks versus unlobed leaves like persimmon. And you have toothed leaves like birch and elm and hackberry versus toothless leaves like black gum, pawpaw, persimmon, etc. Okay, so those are the 3 tree tools that you can use to divide trees in groups for identification. Next, we'll look at some real leaves that demonstrate the 3 tools.